My internet is abysmal, so if it lags like crazy. There's like a lot of different styles on here. Here, I'll zoom it in a little bit, make it, because I know that the screens are kind of. Okay, so you have like several different styles of map, you know what I mean? And I know you want them to all kind of match, so pick a style because these are for the regional, you know what I mean? The different types of designs you can do for the regional. And you see how they have like different filters and yada, yada, yada. So you know, I'm going to look more like a map or more like, you know, this. Well, okay. First things. Yeah. I need to change the material on that. So we'll start with kind of darker grass because more tundra region. We want more like the rougher edges here. We're just trying to match the rough shape. I'll go back in with other shit after. Okay. Oh no, that's too far over to start with. Well, what I'm getting, yeah. Okay. Well, the thing is I can grid this out. So give me just 1 second.
Impact.
I can make it match that world map almost perfect. I just need to know. I just have to look at the scale for one hex. 222 miles. So north south 1700. That'll be fine for smaller. That'll be fine. Okay. So down around. This has a little bit of a loop on the top of it. And this is just, I'm just starting. This is the base. It obviously can be painted in differently here in a minute, but and then that comes up. And let's shrink the size of it. Fill this in to start with. Yes, if I set it for editable, if you're in Incarnate, you can grab the base map and do with it what you will. It's $25 a year, bro. It's okay. It does what it's supposed to. Fair enough. Okay, so what we'll do instead of this, let's go back to the water. There as water. This whole thing back. Back it up. Back it up. Yeah, it's fine. Well, I can't. I'm trying to get those islands that are, you know what I mean. These smaller two, maybe not this one, but these two will definitely fit on the same map with it. I just need to move the whole thing up some, and the only way to move the whole thing up some is to, well, move the whole thing up some. Up some. Yeah, we'll leave a couple little water spots in there. That looks good to me. Okay, so now shrink this brush down some. Here. Actually, let's not go with tier. So let's go with that one. But the stamps. I'm gonna randomize stamps. I see how big this thing is real quick. I'm just closing shit on my computer here real quick. See if I can. My internet is abysmal. There we go. No, my internet is really, really bad. So we want the size of these to be. Actually, let's back that up some. Then we want to randomize that. Let's paint in the base first. Let's go with kind of snowy. I will, but just give me a hot second. You'll see. Well, if you the thing is it's easier to flesh it out like you do. So you have the world map. You already have your world map created. Then you can drop it in on a continent. Then you can drop it into a region once you have you know what I mean. It just tends to make things a little bit easier, at least in my opinion, from design standpoint. When you're doing world building stuff like this, it's easier to, kind of flesh out one area at a time and then break it down to, you start world, then you go continent, then you go region of continent, then you can break it down to, by city, town by town. And just makes it go a lot faster. Because you've got a name. Once you have a name for a city, you can kind of generalize the population. That helps you pick the style of the building you want. Advanced settings. We need this to be a little bit darker. Where am I setting that? Let's try this. I want less opacity. So you kind of start to put that shit together. Okay. The stamps. Let's go with. Yeah, we'll go with these mountains instead of those kind of rickety. Multiple auto area density. All that's on. Flip off. Shadow. Object. Let's leave some. Ooh, those mountains look like doo-doo. We will not use those ones. Let's try these ones. The density on those needs increased. There we go. Those ones look much better. Grab this and just kind of grab individual ones and delete them here or there. Okay. They're obviously not going to come all the way to the coastline. And then let's see here. Is this a river? This blue line here. Okay. So that comes in from up here, right? Okay. So yeah, well, we're going to use different mountains because the mountain range is obviously not all this high peak snowy. Yeah, I'm just trying to punch a, you know what I mean, like a valley through the mountains here, and kind of clean up the edges of it some, because I kind of want to leave like these little, you know what I mean, like the little lakes in here. There's one like right around here somewhere too. Yeah, that'll be fine. Put a couple of valleys in here. Whoa, that's got to come back. I took way too much out at once there. Yeah, that'll be fine for now. Okay, so we want this tool. We want to shrink this bitch way, way, way down. We want to subtract. That's too thick. Let's see if I can. Come on, Roll20. Zoom me in farther. There we go. Okay, I see. I see. So let's subtract, but let's move this down in size. We'll start it like here. Bring it down to this little lake. We'll split it off the mountains here. Yeah, there we go. Here, we'll put like a nice little bay here too. There we go. And in fact, let's go with add that terrain. Just using back to this, shrink this down a little bit. We can thin this river down some. Whoops. Oh well. Easy enough fix. Grab a couple of mountains and just move them. Move you down. Now, is there any type of like you know, like highest peak, bigger mountain type thing like that? Okay, so we'll take this one and make it a bit bigger than the rest. Here, let's rotate this a little bit. Get the one behind it. There we go. Now let's get spots here. So I want snow. Let's get a little bit of texture on this shit. Oh, I still have it on subtract, don't I? Yep, there we go. It's too thin. Can't see it. This we want to be. Go. Soften that up some. Dark out. So that's all farmland, so that's lowlands. It's highlands. Let's get some mountains. Let's go with these ones. In fact, let's shrink them even farther. Whoops. Whoa. That's way too dense. Density. Way less dense. Come on. There we go. Still too dense. Yeah, shadow's still way too harsh on those. I will have to save the map, and then I'll give you the name of it, and then you'll be able to pull it and edit it. Like you'll. I don't know. Give me a second. I've never attempted to do that, to be honest with you. Um, oh, dude, it's a great tool. In fact, but it does like to freaking freeze up, so we will be saving. Correct. No, but I can clone it. Like once I get the basic outline of it, you can clone it and add whatever you want to it, or subtract whatever you want from it, or so on and so forth. Obviously, I'm just trying to get the terrain in, and then I'll get the forest parts in, and blah blah blah, and then start sticking, plopping cities down. Um, but it's just a matter of getting, you know what I mean? Like these mountains are still too dark comparatively to the background. It's just a matter of trying to make it look good to start with. No, I want the wasteland texture. That was right, but I need it to be a little less, making it darker. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because like underneath the mountains, obviously it's gonna be a little more rocky and a little less grassy style. Go, because that's a little more tundra. Being in the north, make it a little darker. In fact, let's make it even a little more dark up there. There we go. Then okay, so Aneka is in the center of the map, so it's like here basically. So we'll just move around some mountains, make room for it. Okay, so basically in that mountain pass right there, in the center of the map, right off the river. Considering it's the capital, it's probably a walled city. Correct? Oh, oh, directly on the river? Okay. That can be done as well. So hold on, I need to zoom this here. Come on, I don't remember the shortcut. No. Spacebar, that's right. Okay, so that one's not gonna work. Let's go with. Oh no, we want little tiny buildings. Roughly, what's the population? Whoa, just got a little click crazy there. Okay. Yeah, just situate these little buildings a little bit closer. So yeah, it looks all right to me. And I'm just trying to move these houses around a little bit so the city doesn't look like it stretches for half the fucking mountain range, just to give an indication that it's there. And went a little crazy with the houses. Because it is a world, you know what I mean? It's a region map. The city doesn't need to be that freaking big on a region map. All right. So there's that city. Trig is in the mountains over here. Go back, we'll use the same ones, but let's make the size dollar area a bit smaller. Come on, go in there. You can. Shit. Did I just do it? I think I did. I think I just fucked up. No, I didn't. Okay. Open my stamps. There we go. Okay. How many people's in that city, roughly? Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, just for like smaller ones, I can use just like one or two little houses. That's why I was just asking. Okay. That is just north of the river. I don't know why you decided you wanted to make giant houses now. Stop. Stop messing me up. It did too. There we go. See, now it wants to cooperate. Okay. I'm just trying to get the major cities on here first. Where is this at? I can't tell in your mess of all these lines here. Okay. Let's turn the see up a bit more. So there's another city up here on the coast. This is Omsk. Yeah, there's a couple down there on those little islands, but yep, over here. Yeah, Yeah, these are cities. That's what I figured is that they were fairly, yeah, I'm just trying to create like the actual like region map for that area to start with real quick. I'm just trying to shrink these down because some of these houses are like the size of mountains. So, in fact, let's grab this, copy, paste. Okay, whoops. I meant to control click that out of there. Here we go. So let's move the city here. Move this mountains down some. Put that right about there. Look good. Okay, and this is fine, but we need to move it a little bit away from the mountains. Oh, that's farther down. That's way farther south than there. Okay, so there you go. So that's pretty much all of the major cities, correct? I think I covered them all. Oh, the ones that are on the little island down here. Yeah, we're just going to grab a chunk of one of these other ones real quick with the copy paste tool just to save time. You can scroll now, game. Thank you. Okay, so that needs to be a little more wintry there too, and we'll throw some of those other mountains in a second. Okay, let's come back in paint tool. Looks like this is more highlands area here. Because I'm taking it that these islands are sort of highlandy areas too, from gauging by your topographical map you have. In fact, because we're zoomed in a little closer, we're going to go with subtract. We'll put a nice little big ass lake right the fuck here on this island, because that sounds good to me. And let's throw one here in the mountains, just because. Maybe another one. There's farmlands down here, so go. You know what? Let's see how far I can bring this down. Yeah, I likes that. There we go. Increase this just a little bit. A little bit more. So I only want to do like one big click. The farmlands, maybe they got some village by a lake or something. I'm just throwing in a couple of masses of water around here just to give it a little more realism. You know what I mean? Mm. Yeah, maybe this comes up and forms a nice little. Got a tributary, yeah, tributary coming out of the mountains there. Ooh, mountain. Okay, now that we have all of those, let's drop the saturation on all of this shit down. Oh, yeah. Okay. So we have farmlands in the south. It's probably a little more fertile. Let's find a better grass texture. I know it's an ocean texture, but yep, that's exactly what the point is there. Make it a little more green in the south there. Let's make these a little more green here too on the end. Make those mountains look a little more rocky by throwing some green under them. Let's get some trees. Probably pine forests up here. And we need. Whoa. Those trees are still way too goddamn big. Make them little trees. Aha, there we go. Let's not go with the round brush though. I want the like the googly brush. I still feel like the saturation on those needs to be toned down a little bit. There we go. Yeah, pine trees are not that green, bro. I grew up in a mountain. You know what I mean? Like I was out here, and then I had a bunch of family in Colorado, so I was out there a lot. I'm like, pine trees are not that green. I don't care who says what. They are not that green. Oh God, damn! All those trees are just like facing every which direction. Hold on, I can fix that. I think I clicked on the random rotation instead of. They're just like weird trees, and we grow out of everywhere. Whoops. Nope. We want to up. Exactly. Are they upside down? Yes. Glad I looked. There we go. Back, can we shrink those fucking trees just a little bit more? There we go. Still they're tiller trees, but oh yeah, that's much better. There we go. And you see how like I can scrape it over this? You see what it's doing? How it like leaves the mountains? How it like ignores the edge of them? So you can get like timberline. So I'm going to assume this is a fairly good mountain range. There's roads and shit that probably come through it, but oh, whoops! I meant to just undo like the last couple of clicks, not the whole thing. But it's time to save again before this thing decides to crash and I lose all of it. Yeah, in fact, I'm going to do that before. I'm placing a lot of objects onto this right now. No, it does not. You just want to click save like frequently. You can tell like when you're pulling your mouse like that and it starts to jump. It's like it's because right now my computer's doing all of the processing for it, and because each one of those counts as like its own little you know what I mean? It's like a layer in Photoshop. So each one of those trees is that little tree is a layer. But when you save it and you export it, it all comes out as one solid image. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to once I get it set up, I'll let you clone it and add to it what you want, and then I can pull it either into Photoshop or GIMP. You know what I mean? Pull it, export it, and then once it's exported, then I can actually, huh? No, it does not. It's all one image. It's going to give me one PNG image. Um, but once you get the PNG, and then you can go in with the tools or whatever, and and slice and yeah, then I'll slice and dice it up into each individual region and throw it onto its its own individual background. Um, but you can on this, you know what I mean. You could put like the region borders just using like a tool. What's it called? The pathing tool. So, like I say, give me a sec. We'll get the map made first. The main part of the map, because I'm gonna have to do the snow trees next, and because this is a pretty northern region, I'm going to assume that it's not, it's populated in cities. There's probably some towns and stuff, but for a region map, I feel like it would be pretty heavily forested in this area, especially with all the mountains. At least I feel that's how it would be. Ah, shit. The drug it too far. I'm about to blink a lot of that out of existence. Yeah, because unfortunately, each one of those little trees is its own object. So, oh, god damn it. No trees in the water. No, 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 no. Put all of that back where you found. And put a big dense part coming up into here. But we're going to come back and lower the density on these trees here in a second. And space. Oh, shit. Don't freeze. Save again. I want like a bigger area with less density to try to get those forests in there. But so yeah, what were you thinking about with the engineer thing? You were talking about like the mechanical spec like you have now. Like a biomechanic, what would they do? Natural armor. Okay. Now we know how the hybrids exist. Yeah. Yeah. Like a flashlight type deal. Yeah. 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 Well, artificers can double as a rogue. That is a thing. Yeah. Nice. I think Incarnate pooped the bed. I think it pooped. Yep, good thing I saved, huh? I was trying to put too much shit on it all at once. Okay. Well, that could have been worse. It's just all I have to say about that. They're still too big. No. He yeeted. He was like, I'm bored. I'm out of here. Go. Show the forest. Oops. Put it on the layer. There we go. More sparse woodland style shit. Nice. Nice. That sounds like fun. Come on, thing. Must be running out of layer. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. I'm running out of memory here, so it's like you have put too much shit on this map. It does that to me sometimes, and then I have to like download it and then like upload the background and keep working on it from there. Upload it as a solid image. Yep. But I feel like the forest wouldn't be quite as dense where it's so cold like that, you know? There we go. I will tell you right now, as somebody who tends to prefer to play clerics, you're gonna have to be really careful balancing that because they're gonna get super busted super fast. I am underneath the firm belief that if you were to take an entire party of just clerics, that they are unkillable. You know, no, no, not really. Like life domain, not so much. A lot of the original, like the PHP clerics, they're strong, but they're not ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like peace domain is like peace domain, twilight domain are like peace domain's so easily abused that it's crazy because you use your reaction to switch places with somebody when they take a hit. And so like say they have like your rogue's in there. Your rogue's got like what, a 15, 16 armor class on a good day. And then you've got like a 23, 24 upwards of, depending on the cleric, the peace domain cleric and the gear that you have access to, you have no problems at all breaking 25 armor class. So now they get the hit on your rogue. And you use your reaction to switch places, and now they're to roll, you know what I mean? Their to hit roll is now on you instead of versus that rogue. And you can blink around the battlefield that way, swapping places with people and take the hit for them. And it can sway the tide of combat rather rapidly. Twilight Domain, yeah, all you have to be is a Twilight Domain. Like, his aura that fears everybody? Imagine that, but now it's giving my cleric level everybody that temporary hit points every single turn for using your channel divinity. Like, they're nuts. I really feel like if you took just a entire party of clerics, that they are literally completely unkillable. I really believe that. So you got to be really careful when you give them subclasses because, yeah, you're gonna have to be really careful giving them subclasses because they can get really oppressive on the battlefield really fast without one, which is why the game was balanced to not give a cleric a subclass. That's why they just get to pick what type of cleric they are at level 1, and that's what kind of cleric they are. It's to keep them from just absolute. That's why they don't get multi. Like that's why Twilight Domain's the only one that gets multi-class, multi-attack as well, because they're more considered frontliners. But if you're to give a cleric multi-attack, once they have like Spirit Guardians or animate objects or spiritual weapon, like Spirit Guardians is kind of sketchy because it does require concentration. But Warcaster and Resilient can negate the downside of the concentration. Imagine that, where they get 2 attacks with their Warhammer and they're using their wisdom to attack with. You know what I mean? Like a druid would. So they're using like a flame tongue longsword, using their +5 wisdom modifier to attack while they have Spirit Guardians up, giving everybody in the radius of them temporary hit points, and then like 10 animated objects. You know what I mean? That if you put a subclass on that, you're going to have to be really careful. I'd make them domains, like separate domains. So it just expands on, like, for example, like the Raven Queen, who has like Trickery and Death Domain and Twilight Domain. Helm, who's, Law Domain, War Domain, things like that. You know what I mean? So rather than make them a subclass for a pre-existing, like tacking even more power onto probably what I would consider to be one of the most powerful classes just as far as support and even just survivability goes in the game, you'd probably want to work more on trying to make them domains. You know what I mean? So instead of getting all of this that you would get from Forge Domain plus your stuff that you tacked on from Pai, like if you're a dwarf that makes the Forge Domain. That's why I stopped playing Oscar, because I saw where it was going. That's why I was like, can I just reroll a character, because this is going to snowball out of control in the next couple of levels. Like, I don't think you're a bad DM, but I also don't want to ruin it, you know what I mean, and make everything completely too easy. That's why I was like, can I play a different character? Because when you tack that, especially that automatic proficiency, yeah, all he's got to do is build a fucking cannon. And you're proficient in it. All you have to do is that automatic proficiency and stuff is gnarly. And then I do like the fact that if you forge it by hand, it's an automatic +1 or something like that. That's cool, because forging it by hand takes a lot longer than using, something like Fabricate or using the Forge Domain's abilities. So what I would do is just make them their own domain. Like Creation Domain, or you see what I mean? Because if you tack all of that on as a subclass, that's like, oh, that fighter's already a battle master at level 1. So now let's give him Arcane Archer on top of that. You know what I mean? Or let's give him Eldritch Knight on top of that. Like, you took what's already ridiculous and made it broken. So just like keep that in mind when you're making stuff. Like the subclass idea for a cleric is a good idea, but they were balanced that way. There's a reason they're the only class. Druids and clerics get their subclasses earlier than everybody, because you're locked the fuck into it. Whereas, like with a fighter, they get a bunch of extra feats with rangers. They might get another party member in the form of animal companion. A warlock starts, as a warlock. They pick their patron, but their invocations or whatever. One Hexblade warlock with his class features is going to play different than somebody who has, the weapon, their weapons. The Pact of the Blade is going to play different than somebody who has Pact of the Tome is going to play differently than somebody who has Pact of the Chain. Because the other ones are not really worth mentioning. Pact of the Talisman is all right, but the reason that they get those later is because they're a little more predictable. They're a little softer as far as the power creep. Because say you have a druid and you take Shepherd Domain or Circle of Stars, right? The circle of the Shepherd or Circle of Stars, and you tack literally one level of life domain cleric on it. Now, you just made Goodberry a first level spell that is entirely capable of healing 40 points of damage. That's all it takes. You see what I mean? Why you got to be very careful tacking even more power onto what's already one level of life domain cleric makes a Shepherd Druid or a Circle of Stars Druid fucking insane healers. And I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Make them their own domain. So it replaces that because they get their subclass at level 1. When you make your character, you get your subclass. So that's what I was saying. Make them a domain instead of like a subclass on a domain is that's how my brain interpreted when you said a subclass. Right. That's your world lore, 5e lore. That's not the case. A paladin's oath can be I won't cheat on my wife. You know what I mean? Yeah. I roll it the same way too, as the divine power comes from the gods and right. Well, warlocks have access to some of that, and they're not necessarily following a god. They're kind of, hey Cthulhu, homie, can I have a D10 hit, a D10 cantrip? Yeah, I got you, fam. You know what I mean? Um, well, I think though it makes sense though because like say a lawful celestial pact warlock, you know what I mean? They want to help people, and they're willing to not only give their body to do so, they're willing to give their soul to help them. I think that's out of all of the warlocks, that is probably the most amiable one because you signed a deal with Mechanus, you signed a deal with a celestial, a solar, an angel. You know what I mean? Um, right, but no, well, there's a lot of ways you could twist that lore wise and stuff too, but it's somebody who wants to help so much, and they're just, you know what I mean, they haven't got the attention of the gods, they haven't, but that's how I picture, you know a celestial pact warlock. There's somebody who is behind law, who's somebody who's behind justice, who's somebody who wants to help people to the point where they're willing to give up their soul if necessary. you know um I don't think that's bad. Hexblade, the thing that I don't like about Hexblade is you make a pact with you gain possession of a cursed sentient weapon that gives you these powers, right? But it's not part of their starting gear. Why don't they get a sentient magic weapon? Then part of the downside of you get to cast this OP cantrip is you legitimately can never use another weapon. You see what I mean? That would make sense to me. Or even if you're good aligned, you say Pact of the Fiend or something. Sure, like when sense alignment, it's going to show you as lawful because fiends, devils are lawful evil. Um, but say you go like Pact of the Fiend or something. Even if you were a good character and got roped into it under some shit circumstances, you'd still radiate evil. Somebody like the Paladin does detect, his detect or whatever. I think that a hex, anybody but like a Hexblade or a Celestial Warlock should fucking light up just like undead do. Because the source of that power is not benevolent, you know? Yeah. Uh-huh. There's what I was looking for. Yeah, warlocks to me, there's a lot of, they didn't flesh them out very good. They really should have fleshed them out more. Like I said, I really have always thought that hex blades, that their starting equipment should contain a cursed weapon. And part of taking that class is you can't ever use another weapon. I'm just throwing ideas out there for you. That's, well, it says in his lore that his manifestation is always as a weapon. So yeah, we don't want the ISO. We want the boom. That's fine. You can still see what's going on. What you think? And the rest of the work's gonna have to be done in Photoshop. What up, baby girl? I. What up, baby girl?